Thank you. Move this up. All right, I'm going to share my screen here in a minute. All right, getting started. For those of you that this is your first time tuning into the Sales and Marketing Mastermind calls, I want to give you a little bit of background what this is about and what our relationship is with Club Wealth. If you're coming in through Club Wealth, if you're a current client of REN, you've had an opportunity to join these before in the past, or maybe you just found out about them and you're starting to join them. So basically what the Sales and Marketing Mastermind call, what this Zoom call is all about is coming up with unique campaigns and strategies to, number one, increase lead conversion. Number two, making sure that when we're increasing lead conversion, we have a systematic process to dominate a specific niche. Now, how do I define a niche? A niche could be defined as, sellers, but then there's a niche within a niche. You have sellers, then you have geo farming, then you have for sale owners and expireds, right? And probate, you can keep drilling down. Then you have buyers, and you have different type of buyer leads and niches there. And so we talk about not just kind of surface level sales and marketing concepts. These are advanced sales and marketing strategies. Okay, so I just want to let everybody know that this is for somebody who is very committed to their sales and marketing plan, and their goal isn't just a goal that's on a piece of paper, but they have every intention of hitting that goal, and they understand that having a really good sales and marketing plan needs to be at the forefront of that. This is one part of the Sales and Marketing Academy that my colleagues and Michael Hellickson and the Club Wealth team have put together. The overall umbrella of this, of what we're training and coaching, is called the Sales and Marketing Academy. And that academy includes the daily prospecting and role play scripts for agents, ISAs, and ISAs. It also includes today, which is the Sales and Marketing Weekly Workshop. There are video courses and online courses coming that you'll see in the Club Wealth in the future. I want to kind of give you guys a heads up on that. And before I dive into today's topic regarding how to generate 100 referrals in a year, because that's today's topic, I want to give you a background on the methodology behind what we teach, because there's an overall method to this. And I want to make sure, can everybody see my screen? We good to go? Okay, awesome. So basically Michael Hellickson and myself, we got together about a year ago, and we said, what are some things that we like that's being taught in real estate, and what do we think some things that are being taught in real estate that are really just not true, or not of the average realtor's best interest, especially if they want to build and scale their business. And fundamentally, simply put, the whole Sales and Marketing Academy is developed around this concept that we believe that the old sales funnel model that we've been taught in real estate doesn't work. We think it's dead unless you you can be successful, and you can get to a decent transaction volume kind of with this method of let's just go out and grind it, and let's go out and make it happen, and let's do a whole bunch of transactions, and I'm just really focused on generating some leads and just getting as many transactions as I can. You can get to a certain point in your business. But if you want to do like what Ron Mazza has done and I have done, and get to the point where you're scaling a team, you're profitable, even if it's a small team, right? You're profitable in doing so. We can't just focus on what we call the transaction treadmill of just looking how to get the next transaction. We have to be a little bit more strategic than that. And so everything that we train is based off this method we call a Flywheel Method. And how I came up with this, it's actually a term that HubSpot, it's a huge marketing company, they use. But I actually analyzed Michael Hellickson's business and interviewed him over and over and over again, multiple times in different parts of his business, to try to figure out how he got to the point where he was doing 150 transactions a month. Okay. And success leaves clues, right? So anytime somebody's doing that kind of volume, whether your goal is to do 50 transactions or your goal is to do 100 transactions, whatever it is, whatever your goal is, somebody that's successful, you got to study them. And that's essentially what I've done, along with the success that Ron and I had. Ron's with me here today, where, you know, we have 200 agents in Florida. We have 20, and we're running an expansion team. So what's really fun about this project is everything I'm teaching you here today, we're actually almost starting from scratch with our expansion team, right, Ron? Where we're saying, okay, let's get back in the trenches, and let's not just teach it, but let's do it with everybody that wants to kind of, see how we're doing things, And so our goal with the expansion team in upstate New York is we want to become the #1 independent brokerage in Rochester. So that's our goal. And this is a strategy that we're currently working on right now, of integrating into our brokerage, and it's called the Flywheel Method. And basically how the Flywheel Method works is it focuses on putting, and please write this down. If you've already been on my coaching before, it's probably just a reminder, but the Flywheel Method is it puts the client at the center of your business instead of just part of the business, instead of just seeing him as a transaction and then whoop, you're done, right? And within that, you have a hyper focus on managing your database, okay? Where your database is your focus daily. It's a daily part of your sales and marketing plan, is your database, okay? Because that's where your clients are, right? And that's where your clients are going to come from. So really what it's about from there, it's about your marketing, your sales, and your service all working together in sync with each other. Because just like the foundation of a building, if one of those legs gets knocked out, if you have your poor marketing, your sales are down, or your service isn't where it needs to be, and you're not getting repeat referrals and repeat business and referrals, then it becomes that much harder to scale. And we work with teams all the time, by the way, that have scaled, but they're less profitable than when they were before they scaled, right? So what's the point, right? If you're less profitable and you have more headache, but you have a bigger team, what's the point, right? So this whole methodology is getting all three of these things to work together. And I'm going to get into today's topic in 1 minute. But where the analogy of the flywheel comes from is the flywheel is a mechanical tool that produces energy. The car industry uses it. And the faster that it spins, the more energy that it produces. And here's the key point for you. The less friction it has, the more energy it produces because it's spinning faster. So ask yourself this: at what points of your business is there friction, or are things not working that if you get them to work, right, your business is going to scale? And that's the whole point of this methodology. It's to give us a framework to think about our business. And the key areas, there's other areas, but the main areas that 100% have to be functioning like a machine are marketing, sales, and service, right? Those things, can we agree that those things have to be functioning? We have to be on point. There cannot be friction, because it's going to be really hard to scale if either all three of those aren't working together. Can we agree on that today before we get into today's training? Does that make sense to everybody? So with that, we're going to talk about, it's kind of marketing and it has to do with service as well, but we're going to talk about how to generate 100 referrals in a year. So we're going to get into today's topic, but I want to pause there. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts that they want to add about the flywheel methodology before I get into today's training? Cool. All right. So today's goal is to provide you a step-by-step framework on how to generate more referrals. Specifically, and for some of you, it might be a little bit harder depending how big your book of business is, but the goal is going to be going into 2021 to generate 100 referrals. That's the goal. And for some of you, it's going to take longer to ramp it up, and that's okay. No problem. For others, you might have a few of these systems in place already, so you might be able to do it quicker. But no matter where you're at, just focus on the steps and what you can do to integrate this process to get more referrals going in 2021. So with that being said, one of the first thing to get more referables, and it's so simple, and this is very surface level, but it's so important, is you have to become a person of influence in your community and in your market. And I'm going to share with you how to do that. But if nobody knows you and you're not in front of everybody and you don't have anybody's attention, I think we can all agree it's going to be really hard to get referrals and to build a referral machine, right? I would hope we could agree on that. If we're not out there and we're not, it's impossible to become referable if we're not out there, right? Outside of our basic core referrals. So the first idea here is you have to be out there as many ways as you can afford to get referred. So that's number one. Your job as a real estate professional is to get attention. Point blank, period. You have to get attention, and you have to figure out ways to get attention daily so you can stay top of mind. Okay. So the second thing within that is so how do you actually generate referrals on a large scale? The first step here is you want to think of people, what I call your Dream 100 list. Okay. So you want to look at your Dream 100 list, and you want to, and it can be comprised of your SOI, your past clients, and what I would call referral partners, which are business services. Okay. People that you want to do business with that are kind of revolve around the real estate transaction. So Ron, you're working on this right now. Can you give us some examples of some referral partners that you've connected with and started developing a referral partnership with?
Yeah, sure. The best way is the people that you work with on a regular basis. Real estate attorneys, your home inspectors, your oh gosh, it's just a list goes on and on. If you work with a mitigation company, any professional that you will call to help your clients should be in your referral base. You're helping them, giving them business. Well, you need to have them also return business and referrals.
Right. Home, insurance, right?
There's so many.
We have and actually at the end of this PowerPoint, we have a list of 100 potential business services that you should be developing relationships with over the course of your real estate career. Okay. So that's really the first big domino, if you will, is your past clients, your SOI, anybody that's you would consider a close friend or relative, and your referral partners. And your goal is to get to 100 people at a minimum. Okay, that's the goal. All right. So and a lot of people think, wow, 100 people, that's a lot. Okay. Well, 20 of them are going to be referral partners. Okay. Most of you have done at least 20 transactions throughout the course of your career. Right. So there's some past clients. If you haven't yet, that's totally fine. And I hope to God, most of you know at least 20 to 30 people that you can put in your SOI, right? So it's a lot easier to get to 100 than most people think once they really start thinking through it, right? A lot of you should be able to, depending on the size of your business and your past clients, a lot of you should be able to get to 500, right? Or more, depending on what your list looks like and how many past clients you have and what your sphere looks like, how many leads that you've contacted and developed relationships with, so on and so forth. So just a couple examples, if you don't want to go deep as far as the type of vendors, you can go wide and you can look for, like, as an example, just a recommendation, 2 divorce attorneys to have good relationships with, 2 probate attorneys, 2 estate, 2 financial planners, 2 accountants, 2 insurance agents. A big niche is assistant living managers, 2 assistant living managers, and then obviously 2 mortgage or loan officers. That's just a suggestion. This is just a brainstorm, whatever 2 that you think is going to be most likely to become referral partners over time. Okay. We're going to talk to you about how to entice them to want to refer people to you, by the way, coming up. So this is the marketing strategy. So once you got your list should be in your database, and you should have your campaign set up. You should have an SOI campaign, a past client campaign in your CRM, and a partnership campaign. They need to be separate lists within your CRM. If they're not, okay, it's going to be a lot harder to do some of the marketing strategies we're going to recommend down the road. So that's a major thing. Take the time, especially going into the Christmas season, to get your database organized if you're not, okay? That's the number one thing we do with as an REN client. It's the number one thing we do for you is help you get your database organized and make it actionable by coming up with automated campaigns. Okay, so it's a huge thing. Got to get that done. Then let's start talking about the marketing. Okay, we talked about how you have to get attention. You got to be out there. You all are doing real estate every single day, pretty much. We obviously take vacations, take days off, but you all are creating a story or a day in the life of a real estate agent every single day, right? And so one of the most underutilized tools right now is Facebook stories and Instagram stories, okay? And the beautiful thing is it only takes 5 minutes to just do a quick story. So some examples of what you can do on your Instagram story is simply, let's say you're going out to list a home. Say, yes, this is Isaiah Colton. I'm actually, or you don't even have to say who you are because they're on your story. But like, yeah, I'm going out to list a property. I'm really excited about it. I'm so glad that Sherry at 1234 4th Street decided to work with me. And I'm excited to see what happens with this home because, it's in a great market and they're looking to move down to Florida. So I'm really excited about it. Whatever you feel comfortable sharing in that story. And what you're doing essentially is kind of showing off your successes too, right? You're showing that you're a productive agent. You're an active agent. So the people that are watching you, they're thinking of you. And we have a whole list of different story topics you can create, but literally you can just keep it simple. What Ron has started to do is just go throughout, as he's going throughout his day, if there's a kind of a cool thing he wants to talk about, that he can turn it into a story, then he'll just go on his stories quick and just do a quick 2-minute story and it chops it up and you're good. And guys, if Ron can do it, I love you, Ron. Okay. If Ron can do stories, anybody can do stories, right? So
you'll never guess what happened to me today. No.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and then here's the key to it. It's consistency, right? Doing it at least 5 days a week. Okay. Is really important. You'll be shocked how many people start tuning into your stories on a regular basis. Okay. Once you start doing that. All right. So simple strategy, but really powerful. So next is Facebook Live. And I know when I'm going to start talking about video, people get all nervous. All right. So just bear with me because this is so simple, but so powerful that anybody can do it. All right. You're going to want to shoot 4 videos a week. 4 videos a month. All right. 4 videos a month. And they're so simple. They're not anything that has to be planned out per se. You don't want to be worrying about graphics. These are Facebook Live videos. Okay. Where you go live on your Facebook feed and you have 4 core topics that you rotate through every single month. Okay. It's so simple. The first one is a real estate market update. So Ron, talk to us about how you do your market updates and how long that you suggest the video being.
Well, first of all, in our area, I go to the New York State Association of Realtors, as well as our local MLS. And I'm looking for market trends, market changes, predictions from some economists and what have you. And I'm going to put those into about a 7-minute video. But again, part of this is you're going to be known for your knowledge. It will start to catch on, and knowledge is power. So when you have interesting things to talk about, especially in this first video about the market update, everything is going to happen. Every day something changes in our world. So tell people about it. And again, it shows that you're up to date. You know what you're talking about. You've got a lot of experience because you do a little research. So what I do too is I try to do them on Tuesday. As you can see, we have a little schedule here because by Monday, those updates are in. And I don't want to catch them and do a video later in the day. I want to do it kind of in the morning on Tuesday. So Monday gives me a chance to just get some information, maybe run through it real quick, you know, in the mirror, whatever, because I'm going to be talking to a camera and a computer, and, you know, just be able to give people some good information on that first video.
That's great. And the best days to do these type of videos are Tuesday and Thursday. Tuesday or Thursday are the two best days. We do Tuesday just because of our schedules are crazy, but Thursday is a great way to do it as well, or a great day to do it as well. If you're hardcore and you don't mind doing it at night, you'll get the best audience because people are home, right? And more people are looking now. That's a little bit different now with COVID. More people are home, and you have a more captive audience because so many people are on social media right now. But either way, regardless of when you decide to do it, the key here is write this down. It's consistency. Whatever time you pick, do it the same week, every single time, within reason, of course. There's always emergency. There's always vacations. You guys get what I'm saying, right? So that's the key to this, all right? So that's week one. The next week, you bring your referral partner on, maybe like a Zoom call, and you go live on your Facebook from Zoom, and you interview your referral partner. Okay. This is going to make your referral partner your best friend, because you're going to give them so much exposure to their brand that if you keep doing this over time, they're going to feel obligated to start referring people to you. Does that make sense to everybody? That if you're giving exposure to your referral partner and you're doing that consistently, where you're letting them talk about themselves, you're doing an interview of them, you're giving that kind of exposure, and they start getting business through your channel, they're going to naturally start thinking, wow, they're really going out of their way to make this relationship work. Who do you think they're going to be more likely to refer people to down the road, right? So, Ron, you got a quick story about an HVAC company that we referred people, that we did this with, and talk about how it helped their business and kind of how they became our raving fan, if you would. So
yes, we have it was a fairly young company, but pretty well known. And what we did was we came up with our list of questions. We let them know in advance, these are the questions we're going to ask you, so you can prepare for your answers. And that interview went so well. We got bombed with calls wanting to know, more information. We also give them a small window to kind of promote their business. How do you get a hold of, and one of the questions is, how can people get a hold of you? This HVAC company started with a brand new air machine for the cleaners. They are putting them in now. It started with our video all over the 3-city area in New York, Rochester, Buffalo, and Syracuse. And his business just went nuts. And he will say, he will admit, part of it was because we gave him that exposure, and he had such great information for people, especially with air and, bacteria and COVID and what have you. So it was great, just great.
And so here's how the process works: is you have them come on. You want to make sure it's no more than 7 to 10 questions. Okay. This is not like the interview shouldn't go more than 15 minutes to a half hour. Okay. This whole process shouldn't take you more than an hour to do a week per video. So once you're getting going and getting used to it might take a little bit longer, but once you get your systems in place, the whole process should take an hour a week to execute this particular part of it. Okay. So but the return over time is exponential, because this is, again, you got to get exposure, right? Got to get in front of people. And then, so you do that the same week every time. Same thing there. I want to pause before I move on to the third video. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts or stories? Anything you guys want to ask at this point?
I do. Well, I have a question for Ron.
Go ahead, Ron. She's got a question for you. Yep.
I'm listening.
Would you be willing to share your interview questions?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. I could help you write some. Just tell me who you're going to interview. I'd be more than happy to help you write some questions.
Okay, awesome. I'd like to connect with you maybe after.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Absolutely.
Yep, no problem.
Thank you.
I would say also, because I do some of these, hi, I usually ask what they want to talk about. If I'm bringing my lender on, I say, what are you getting a lot of questions about? Or, what's this? So I let them pick the topic. And if it's a really bad topic, I tell them no. But a lot of times they have a better idea than I do.
That's really good. That's a really good point, Tanya. I'm glad you do want to have some governance over what, right, or what they're talking about, but also to your point, get their feedback, right? So that's good. Thank you.
I have a question too.
Yep.
So would you just do only a Facebook Live, or would you put it also on your YouTube channel or a Facebook just feed?
Phenomenal question. I'm going to go over a step-by-step promotional strategy later on the slides. So if you don't mind,
All right.
we're on the same wavelength though. So we're good. Yeah.
All right. Thanks.
Okay, cool. Good. Anything else before I move on? All right. So next here is the third one in the third week is an educational video. Okay. If you're wondering about topics, you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to talk about? We've identified 24 topics that are kind of like the core topics that home sellers and home buyers want to hear about. We'll be happy to share those topics with you. If you care, if you want to know what the topics are about. And again, this is an educational video. You're going live. You don't want it to be longer than 10 minutes going live. So don't think it's got to be anything crazy or in depth, but you just want to do an educational video once a week. Okay. Then the fourth one, which is my favorite, because if you're doing this consistently, this is where the people that have been watching you and following you who are on the fence start raising their hand and start contacting you or start referring you. The fourth video is kind of a little bit more of a webinar style where you walk them through on a live Facebook feed, the home buying process, your home buying process, or your home selling process. So now they get the inside. See, here's the thing. Most people don't, we've all heard the saying, people will do business with you if they like you, if they know you, they like you, and they trust you. One of the best ways to build trust is actually to show them your process, because it helps them understand what you do and it builds instant credibility. And that's when people start contacting you over time, when you're consistent with this fourth video, where you're walking them through the process. It's kind of like a mini listing presentation or a mini buyer presentation, but you're walking them through the steps of it. And this is so powerful. This is where it starts getting exciting. Now, I want everybody to understand that this is, again, a long-term strategy. You will get business off of it in short order. But when we're talking about advanced sales and marketing strategies and you're building a brand, you're getting attention, you have to think long-term and be consistent with it. And I don't want to be too blunt about this, but if you're just going to do this one time and then say it didn't work, right? Or I didn't get any business off of it, and not do it again, don't even do it at all. Okay. So don't even waste your time. Right. Because it's about consistency and just building that consistency over time. So, but for those of you that commit to this, around that 3 months or so, you start seeing the action really, really pick up, right? It all starts coming together. I'm not saying you're not going to get business off of it right away. That does happen all the time, but I just want to make sure we're on the same page. It's all about consistency. We have a couple, Tony said, I need to travel to a listing appointment 30 minutes away. So I need to have the link to take this on my phone. Can you send me one so I can watch my car? Oh boy. If we have a moderator, I don't know if anybody's on here, but I want to make sure Tony can get the link to this. I don't know how to do that, but I know there's a Club Wealth monitor if somebody's listening. Or Ron, maybe you could message Claire to get a Club Wealth monitor for me. I'd greatly appreciate that. And then Justin said, me too. Send me the link. I'd like a copy also, or text. It could be a text to the link. Okay. We got some emails coming in here. Here's what I will do. I will make sure everyone has this PowerPoint as well. Okay. Does that sound good? Make sure everybody gets the PowerPoint too. It has most of everything that anyone needs on the PowerPoint. So, all right. So this is where it gets fun. All right. So we have to have a promotional plan. If we're doing all these videos, we don't want to just leave them hanging on Facebook, right? Facebook's great, but how can we use this and repurpose this content? So how you do that is what I call the content creation formula. All right. And this formula is actually mapped out in detail on page. If you're a client of REN's, you have access to the sales and marketing workbook. It's on page 35. Okay. It's mapped out. Up above it is a publishing plan. Okay. So basically what you can do is take this content, take that video, and if you have a budget to hire a part-time marketing specialist or somebody that's good with basic marketing skills, they can execute this for you. Okay. Where basically you take that video and you multiply the content over multiple different platforms. So what our marketing team does is, and again, you can just hire, this is not complex stuff, basic marketing skills. You could hire somebody part-time to do this for you because it is an in-depth process. What you can do is take that education video and you can turn it into over 8 different pieces of content. All right. So this is a strategy laid out here, but just to go through it quickly, you can turn it into an Instagram post. You can, D, to your point, you want to create a YouTube channel, put it on a YouTube channel, right? If anything, if you don't have a budget for a marketer right now, I'd recommend not engaging into this content creation formula yet. But if you do, it's extremely helpful because then what they'll do is they'll make sure that video is clipped down into shorter clips, and you can even turn them into Instagram stories. Okay. You can turn them into 30-second posts on your Instagram page. You can make sure it's broadcast all over the multiple channels. You can take that video and have it transcribed into a blog and put it on your website for a blog. And now you're not having to go pay for all this content, unique content creation, or you have to go create all the content yourself. You can take that 10-minute video and you have all the content you need. In there, you're going to have some things that are what I call quotable, that are quote cards that you can have a marketing person turn into quotes. So this whole strategy is laid out step by step for you if you want to engage in it. Now, if you're not a current REN client and you're with Club Wealth, I still want to get you access to this playbook. Just give me a couple of days. I just want to okay it with Club Wealth and the best way to get you access to it. And we'll make sure you get access to the strategy. If this is like, hey, Isaiah, I'm still trying to get basics of marketing down. This is a lot. I can't engage in any kind of content multiplier strategy. There's a couple simple things you want to do if you want to write this down. Number 1, upload it to YouTube. Number 2, make sure that whether you're using REN technology or if you're using BombBomb, whatever your platform is, make sure that you send that video out to your database, particularly your SOI, your past clients, right? And your referral partners. Make sure they get that video.
And how are you suggesting we send it to them, sir? Should it be like a text message with a little video there, or email it to them? What do you think is the most digestible form for them?
I would recommend if you're consistently emailing and you have good campaigns, I would recommend email, and then you can follow it up with a text. Okay. I'd recommend those 2 platforms in sync with each other. So when we do all of our marketing, we do an email followed up by text. So if they don't see the email, they get the text, right? Everybody gets a text, but for whatever reason, if they didn't check the text, they should have the email. Those are the two platforms that I'd recommend. All right. So these are a little bit more advanced forms of marketing. Some of them are easier than others, but what you can do then is now you got 4 videos. For those of you that have wanted to create a newsletter, okay, you can use those 4 videos to create your own newsletter. Well, what do you mean? Well, I have an educational video, I have what makes me unique and different because I'm walking them through my buying and selling process. I have market updates, right? And I have my referral partners. So I essentially have 4 major topics in my newsletter that change every week that I've already done from 4 videos, right? So the reason why I put that in the more advanced category, because I don't know, everyone's got different budgets. There are different places in their business. It does take some time to put together a newsletter. You might have to hire somebody to do it, but it's an extremely powerful strategy. Who do you send the newsletter to? Anybody that's on that Dream 100 list. And yes, can it be more than 100? Of course, right? But you want to try to get to 100 people at a minimum, okay? Then what you also want to do is pay attention to the holidays, pay attention to special events, and make sure that you're in contact with them through email and text on those special holidays and events. So if you look at the sales and marketing workbook that we work off of and that our clients have access to, let's just say we're going to go to December. Okay. So, and I'm sorry, this is a little bit hard to see probably. Let me see if I can blow it up. You can see how, we have all the holidays. We know when all the holidays are. They're on our calendar, and we're doing a special email, and we're doing a direct to voicemail to everybody on our Dream 100 list. Okay. So sometimes we don't do the ringless voicemail, but we'll definitely do a text and we'll definitely do an email. Okay. Has anybody used ringless voicemail before, out of curiosity? Okay. Ringless voicemail is a tool that is super powerful. It allows you to drop a voicemail on hundreds of people's voicemails at one time without you having to talk to anybody. Okay. You can hit your entire database all at once. Okay. Tony says, amazing. April says, we have. Okay. It's called ringless voicemail. Okay. And I want to put out a word of caution. The laws are changing with ringless voicemail. Okay. If you don't know that person and it's a cold lead, okay, they're getting very touchy with the laws with ringless voicemail. But if there's somebody you know, they've opted into your database, okay, and obviously if you've done business with them in the past, you know them. That's who you really want to use the ringless voicemail for, okay, as a tool to stay in touch. At your own risk, you can use ringless voicemails for other things, okay? Somebody's asking about the sales and marketing workbook, and that's a great question. So Vita, if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, I got to just talk to Club Wealth. And are you with REN, Vita, or are you with Club Wealth? Who are you with? Okay, great. So Ron, if you don't mind writing Vita's name down. Ann says she's with both. Awesome. Cool, Ann. And Ann's name down. So Vita and Ann. And we want to make sure they get logged into their academy so they can get access to the workbook. Okay. All right. Let me keep going here. How many people engage in gift giving or sending gifts during the holidays? Anybody?
I do pop-bys and ornaments for first-time home or people that purchased with me.
Awesome. Could you talk a little bit about your strategy and maybe if you use any vendors, Tanya? Seems like you got some experience in this area.
Yeah, for the wrapping, I do for this time of year, I just finished a wrapping paper pop-by where you take a wrapping paper, you put a little loop and put down, thank you for helping me wrap up another great year, little
Cool.
tape, and you hang it on the front door so you don't even have to door knock for COVID. And then you follow it up with a phone call. And then I let them know that the wrapping paper is a charity support. And then I ask them if they can touch back with that charity and support them as well. So it's,
awesome.
You know, patting our back and patting their back. So really not, it's actually a little bit more expensive than regular wrapping paper, but it's, I think, a better message. And at this time of year, they're really helping the food insecure by selling the wrapping paper, which I think a lot of us that are lucky enough to have been able to buy a house, I think there's almost some guilt there. If you're doing well enough to buy a house during these times, you want to be able to help others. And I think it makes them feel good that they're doing that. So that's my Christmas pot buy. And then there's also, just a personalized wooden ornament. It's their name, and then we engrave the date they bought their home and the address, and on the back my phone number, so they can't lose me.
That's awesome. That's great. Have you had any success stories off of that you care to share? Is it too early or? Yeah.
No, because I've been doing it 6 years. I had a client tell me that they wanted to sell and they had to go to their Christmas box to get my phone number, which I thought was pretty funny because I send them emails all the time. It just shows me my emails are not opened.
Right. Right. And that's the power in multi-channel marketing, right? Is getting their attention, getting in front of them as many ways as you possibly can afford to. And that's a great example of doing that. That's awesome. Tracy, do you mind sharing any strategies that you're using? Is that a no? All right, no worries. We'll move on. Janet Hall says, very cool. Awesome. We usually have an in-house event. Okay, cool. That's one thing that I don't have on here and I didn't put it on here because I wanted it, because things are different with COVID. But if you can do 2 client appreciation events a year, that really ties this whole thing together. That's obviously up in the air for a lot of markets right now. So, but we'll see what happens in 2021. All right. Let me see here. This is a little bit more of an advanced strategy, but this is something that Ron and I are doing, and we're really excited about it. So I want to share it with everybody. And that's actually creating a spot on your website that is what we call a homeowner's resource. Okay. And you can come up with a more fancy name if you want, but it's actually a directory of all of the businesses that you are developing relationships with. And ideally, as you're bringing them onto your platform to interview, you also want to work a deal out with them where if clients come through you, that they can get a special discount. And that way they're seeing you more than just a real estate professional, but you're there as a resource, and they feel like you're getting better deals by coming through them. Okay. Or coming through you, and that they're trusted. We like to, and that's what Ron and I are actually building right now. As we speak, is we're going into our website and we're building a spot on our website with preferred vendors. And we also use this as part of our follow-up strategy. So what we're doing is training our agents. Then, like a lot of people, when they call through their SOI, they don't know what to say. Okay. Well, this is a very natural conversation. If you do want to make a phone call, or what you can let them know on your direct to voicemail is you can let them know to say, hey, look, I just wanted to contact you really quickly because we're doing something really cool. We have what we call preferred vendor partnerships through our homeowner resource division of our company. And essentially, as a homeowner's resource, we've made contact with preferred vendors that are trusted and that you can use, and you'll most likely probably get a better deal by going through them. And we just want to do that to give back to the community and say thank you for your business. You can do that like through a voicemail or through like an email, or you can just even use it in your SOI phone calls if that's your thing, right? If you're making SOI phone calls, you can make this part of your talk track, and it gives you something really simple and easy to talk about, right? And it's not like your traditional call where Ron and I role play to say, hey, how are you doing? Oh, great, awesome. Hey, we haven't talked in a while. Just saying hi. By the way, do you know anybody who's buying or selling? Right? It's a different conversation than your classic SOI script. So we've thought of pretty much any home vendor possible. There's over 100 here that you guys can choose from to develop relationships. And as we're progressing, and as we're getting integrated into our expansion team and our business in upstate, we're gonna share with you the progress as we're going. Okay, and we'd love to hear your progress as well and your feedback as we're kind of making it all happen. So, Ron, I know you have a I want to pull this up here. You have a formula here, an income formula the big question is, why should everyone do all this? Why is this even worth doing, right? Why should I take the time to do this? So walk us through your formula here. So.
Well, I just tried to simplify this for everyone to realize, okay, if you have 100 people in your sphere of influence, and most people do, if you've been in business 2-3 years, you've got 100 people in there. And let's say that they each year they have an opportunity to refer you 2 times. So simple math, that's 200 referrals. And let's say that your average commission is $3,000. Well, if you have converted all those referrals, you'd make $600,000. And that ain't going to happen. Okay. It's just not going to happen. But let's say you did 25% of them. You made $150,000 from 100 people referring you on a regular basis. And when we talk about this Dream 100, you know, some people don't refer you, or maybe don't have an opportunity, but there's some people might have 3 or 4 opportunities. So to get 100 referrals in a year, it's not that hard. And look what can happen. And some of you probably have a higher average commission than $3,000.
Yeah, that's our market. Isn't that sad?
I mean,
that's what our average commission is.
We're doing it for our people too, so I got to be realistic, you know.
Yeah.
But it's just and it's just a simple way to look at it and say, wow. And so why wouldn't you try to get referrals? Most people can live on $150,000 a year. That's not hard to do.
Yeah. And so every time every time the thought pops in your head and you say, I don't want to do a video this week, right? I don't want to send that email out, right? I don't know what to say. You know, what am I going to talk? All the things that are just natural that go through our head, right? Or I don't have time, right? This is something we should be doing anyway, right? It is our responsibility to be great marketers, right? If we want to build a dynamic business, we have to be great marketers, right? And so the world is different. There's so many, and what excites me, there's so many different ways to get in front of people. And what will happen is you start getting in the groove of it. You actually have fun doing it, because the success stories that come off of it, like the one that Tanya told, you'll have your own success stories that come off of it that start making it worth it. But just keep your eye, you know, the corny saying, keep your eye on the prize, right? But just keep your eye on the outcome that can happen as you continue to do this. And if you did this over the course of 6 months, you're going to get some awesome results. Over the course of a year, you're going to get even better results. But think about what 3 years could look like from now if you stayed consistent with this strategy. How powerful and what a referral engine you could create over the long term. Because here's the thing, we can go out and generate and spend money on new lead generation. We do that. It's an important part of the Flywheel methodology to make sure we have new leads coming in. We can go out and hit a transaction goal, which is great. And I wasn't doing any of this in the very beginning, right? But what happens is we go to the next level in our business. This is how you create a dynamic business and a scalable business that's profitable. Because if you look at a lot of this stuff, it's not terribly expensive to do, right? A lot of it's just utilizing the technology that we already have at our fingertips. And that's what's exciting about it. And as you grow and you get your budget gets bigger, you're building on cash flow, right? You're building on your cash flow. Then you can start putting even more money into it, and then it gets even better. And that's the exciting thing. There's never been a time in history that you can get this kind of access and this kind of exposure through a text message, right? We take these things for granted. The kind of exposure we can get through a text message and an email and a ringless voicemail is insane, right? How much did we have to spend in postcards and radio and all these other things before we had social media? And we're just not taking advantage of it. A lot of times it's taking advantage of these powerful tools that are at our fingertips. And I hope you guys can get excited about that. So I wanted to spend the rest of this time kind of going Q&A. We're going to end at 12:15. So is there any other thoughts or questions, success stories, ideas that we can share here as we wrap up?
I have something maybe that it really interests the group. Do you know if you don't know where your business is coming from, I can give you some real statistics, which is 31% of your business is going to come from people you just meet. They met you, open house, they want to buy a house, they want to use you. 20% comes from referrals, and 19% comes from past clients. So if you add that all up, it looks to me like it's 60% of your business is coming from this. And if you really push this, the rest of it is easy. And here's the sad part. You're going to spend most of your money on going after the bottom parts, you know, all the ads and that's where you spend all your money. This doesn't, your ROI, a return on investment, working with this type of program is going to be far better than anything else you can spend a fortune on and hope something happens.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great point, because nobody's saying not to go spend money on lead generation.
Oh, yeah.
But if that's your focus, it's really hard to build a profitable business if you're just depending on new leads coming in, and that's your main focus. I think is what you're saying, right, Ron?
Yep. And if you're not talking to your database, you're losing income.
Yep. So
I created a database by friending everybody in the local community page. And people are like, well, I don't know who are you? And I'm just like, well, I just moved here and I'm trying to make friends for my kids and everything.
yeah.
And then on top of that, I ran for a local political office.
Yeah.
So my name was everywhere in my community. And I don't even know anybody. And it only cost me about $1,000, and people were giving me money to run, which was even better.
Great.
And I lost, but I still got like 44% of the vote. And now when I'm, in my community and everything, people recognize me and they know me, like want to give me hugs, unfortunately. So
Amber, you didn't lose, Amber. You were in second place. You did okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel great about it. It was an
Really
amazing
cool.
experience. And it made me realize if I put that amount of energy into my real estate business, I mean, the results would be amazing. So
That's so cool. That's such a good story.
What a great story.
Yeah. That's so
yeah,
cool.
get involved with the community. So
Sure.
And the community page is a strategy I didn't put on the slide, but if you're interacting with your local Facebook community pages, they all have community pages, and you're interacting and you're sharing in there. That's another great strategy that I've seen people use. I personally haven't done that, but I have a mentor of mine that they get a lot of business out of that by interacting in the Facebook communities. So cool. Amber, thanks for sharing that. That's awesome. That's really cool.
I have a question. It's not a question. I thought the program this starts at 9 o'clock Pacific time, so I just logged in 2 minutes ago. It appears that I've missed the biggest.
Did anybody else? You're a little bit. It's hard to hear you. I apologize.
I'll write it. I'll write it in the chat.
Okay, sounds good. All right. So Tanya said thanks. She had her first event last year with Santa photos, so folks could pick up their gifts. But COVID back, it dropped off. Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's one of those things, right? It's like, you just got to adapt and bob and weave, right? So.
Well, one of the reasons I just signed up, I'll have my launch tomorrow. And one of the reasons I signed up on this is because door knocking is a huge part of my business normally. Wow. Normally I get a listing and I get like 3 or 4 in the neighborhood the same year by door knocking and having neighbors open. Nothing. So, I mean, I'm heavy with buyers, low inventory. I need listings. So hopefully this can turn it around a bit.
That's great. If you don't mind me asking, what are you using for your door knocking data? Or do you just pick a neighborhood and go, or?
No, no, that's annoying. You have to have a reason to knock on someone's door. So when I get a listing, I'm like, hey, I'm just coming to apologize. You're going to have a lot of noise going on. We're getting your neighbor's house ready. Donna and Jim, right? And blah, blah, blah. Tell them about it. Ask them, things about the neighborhood. Have the neighbors open. Go around, invite them to the neighbors open. Then when we're under contract, tell them that there's neighbors coming. I'm looking for 4-year-old kids. The people buying have a 4-year-old kid. Are there any, so just, door knock 2 or 3 times in the neighborhood in the month that you're listing the home, and guaranteed when it's time to sell, they'll call the annoying person that was on their doorstep.
That's so awesome. So Tanya, the reason why I ask is if you're interested, we have a behavioral scoring system that can help you identify behaviors of people that are looking to sell based on like 700 different data points, just to kind of plant that seed. If you're ever interested, and you can pick a geographical area. And
I think that's what I'm signed up for, hon.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh, you're with us.
Yeah, I launch tomorrow, so I'm not 100% sure.
And I apologize, Tanya, because I don't know
That's
who's
okay.
coming from Club Wealth and who's coming from. Okay, good.
Yep.
Awesome. Great. This is great. Good stuff. Anything else from anybody before we wrap up? We got 4 minutes or so.
Yeah, this is I want to say I launched the Facebook the community group. There was no Facebook. So I launched one with Halloween decorations and blah, blah, blah. So I got a lot of people in it, but it's a lot of work putting in a lot of content on it, but it really is paying off. So I'm just building the community myself. So I'll let you guys know how it goes, but it's a lot of work and I just need some ideas how to keep that community going because I started it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What have you done so far, if you don't mind me asking?
So I just started like with Halloween and a little bit of Thanksgiving stuff. And I think I'm going to do a little bit of holiday. I'm not sure how things will go, like, postings, what are people doing, what are, local businesses. And when I go around the neighborhood, I'll just post some cool houses in the neighborhood, just and ask people if they want to share their own, they're doing anything fun. So yeah, it's the community is kind of large. It's about 1,800 homes. And
oh, nice.
Yeah, it's the only thing we have or had was next door, but that's a third party vendor.
Right.
And there's a lot of, posts about running dogs and this, all those sort of things. But I just no, this is just community stuff. No politics, no advertising. Well, I don't know. No advertising yet. So, regarding my real estate business, because I didn't want to be too, upfront that, this is kind of the underlying, not underlying, but building relationships is what I'm going after. So, yeah. So that's the one.
Does anybody have experience doing what she's doing that could maybe add any insight or?
Isaiah, I've actually done that in the past. A little bit of a bigger community though, and as Dee said, it is a lot of work to keep up on it. Typically what I try and grab, because it always seemed to get a lot of people interacting, and that's what increases your traffic flow, is the more activity, whether it's a thumbs up or people commenting, that will drive more people over to your site and raise the levels. Anything to do with, and I know it's a little odd because of COVID, but with schools or with kids, any sports informations or success stories coming out with the school age kids seem to always get a lot of traffic for me. And of course I have school age children, so if I went to an event, I would take a picture and automatically tag what school I was at, and all the people will go crazy, that had a connection to that school.
Very cool. Wow.
Right. Awesome. Thanks. Yeah.
That's good. That's great. Okay. So I hope that I delivered on my promise here today, where we gave a step-by-step path. We provided methodology with the flywheel. Hopefully we're starting to think about our businesses, holistically, where we're looking at our marketing, our sales, and our service. And that we got a step-by-step process to really execute a great referral strategy and go into 2021 getting this ramped up, so we can set a goal to generate 100 referrals a year. And just to make sure, what I'm going to do is drop this link in the chat. I would click on the link ASAP because it'll probably go away once we get off of this chat. So how do I do a public chat here? See, save chat. Actually, I think it's, dang it, you bear with me. Sorry, guys. I'm going to figure out what I'll do is I'll make sure I don't exit out of this meeting right away, even though I'll put myself on mute, my camera off. And I'm going to figure out how to get this PowerPoint to everybody, the best way to do that. Okay. I'm trying to drop it in this chat, but it's not letting me do a public chat right now. So I got to figure that out. One way or another, we'll make sure you get the PowerPoint. And we're kind of 2 minutes over here. So I really, I love doing this. I love having an opportunity to share ideas, and I learn something every time I do this. Ron, thanks for kind of co-hosting this with me, and I appreciate everyone's interaction. Here's my recommendation: don't just think about how exciting this is. Take action. You look at the most successful entrepreneurs, and largely it's how we've grown to 200 agents. Where we get new ideas, we take action. We get new ideas, we take action. We don't just let them sit there. We go after them. Most successful entrepreneurs, most successful real estate professionals, they take action, right? And they don't have to have all the details figured out. They map it out. It's good to plan, but then they just go and they try it and they get better as they go. So that'd be my recommendation. And again, Isaiah Colton here. Thanks for tuning in. And
what time is tomorrow's class?
Yes, tomorrow we have prospecting and role play. Tomorrow, so you can tune in at 11:15. Okay.
11:15. Okay.
Yeah, Eastern Standard Time. I'm sorry, that's Eastern. I don't know what time zone you're in, but my time zone, it's 11:15 Eastern Standard Time is when the next training is. We're going to be doing prospecting and role play.
Okay.
Okay. I hope everybody has an awesome rest of the day. See you everybody. Bye-bye. Yep, you're welcome, Janet. You're welcome.
Are we getting the link or?
Yep, it's coming right now.
Okay. Here it is.
I just dropped it in the chat. And
It says you need access.
Yep, give me 30 seconds and you'll have the access here. Everyone with the link. Done. Okay. We should be good to go. I'll wait around just to make sure that everybody.
Request sent. I'm gonna try it again.
Okay. Okay, I see people getting in to it.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
And when can we have the recording of this?
Yes, if you go
session?
back into the Club Wealth app, that's one of the reasons why we wanted to partner with Club Wealth is their platform's very user friendly. After this meeting, the recording of this meeting is automatically saved to that tile that you entered in on. So you can go back and play the recording anytime.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Awesome. Sounds good, Vita. See ya. Tracy. And put this over here. Donnie, how you doing, man? Are you still there? You still with me or you gone? My man, Donnie. You're welcome, D.
It says view only. Can we save this?
Let's see here. I got to figure out view. It should let. I got to figure out.
Or if I give you my email address, would you be able to just email it to me if this doesn't work?
Actually, do you want to edit it? Is that what you're trying to do?
I just wanted to save it so I can look at it after.
Okay. I just put it on edit mode so you can edit it. So it should let you save it.
Okay, so I'll go back. Oops, what happened? I think it's not allowing me.
We try. I'll refresh again. You could bookmark it too for now. I don't know if you've used bookmarks before.
I did, and I think I just closed it, and now I'm out of that, and it won't even allow me to go back into the Zoom meeting, so I can retry it.
See, editor. Do you want? Okay, so you don't have access to the Zoom chat anymore?
No.
Wonder why it still lets you. I wonder how we're able to talk.
It says error registering to conference now.
Okay, let me give you. Go ahead and I'll write your email down and we'll
Okay, it's Armine, ARMINE @kw.com.
Okay, ARMINE @kw.com.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for tuning in.
Have a good day. All right. Bye-bye.
See you next time.